So, okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel again. Still getting used to it and trying to get used to it at least. I had to skip yesterday's stream because I had a few stuff to deal with. It's just about work. In fact, that's what I want to talk about today. So, today's topic is going to be mostly why me and my very close friend decided to start a business together. And what nobody tells you, and that friend I'm talking about, he's like a brother to me. And over a short period of time, it just even our meeting, I say it was God sent. God sent. It's something that I like to talk about, and I even tell it to him sometimes. In fact, today I just told him that us meeting like the way we met, it was something that can't be an accident. Honestly, um, I will ask him if if he'll be okay with me telling you guys the story later on. But today, just I want you to know that he's a very close friend of mine. So, yep, it's 2:19 a.m. Here in Texas, and I don't wanna talk nothing motivational, and I don't either way. So, not if throughout none of my streams I did. Um, yep. So, and most people think that starting a business is easy. I mean, it depends on what kind of business you want to open, right? Like to begin with, if you need to do marketing research, it's and like there goes a lot of things into it. Specifically, the business that we want to open is and does require, for instance, start like getting an office separately for this specific business, right? So I don't wanna mix up my like the office of my two businesses with this business specifically. It's mostly gonna be about my life coaching. Um, it's something that I would like to, uh, where we can help people. Basically, that's what it's gonna be about. But we're gonna see how it's gonna turn out, right? So how did the idea come up? Ideas. So I wrote about ideas before. Ideas come out just out of thin air, right? But at the same time, there's a buildup that comes into it. For me, it was we were just talking over the phone for like an hour, thinking on what we can do to just improve ourselves, to start something at least. That's not gonna require us to like do it too fast. Anyway, so we were just talking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Why wouldn't you try? And why won't we try something like this, right? So he was like, you know what? Why not? The thing is, both of us, when we look in the success, right, and it's very important to find like-minded people, the ones that can actually talk about many things in life, like especially business and success. I did not understand that until I actually met this guy over here, right, and that's how it goes on, right. So obviously, it was not. It's so some people can see it as ego, some people can see just the love for money, maybe frustration. I would say mostly, especially for me, it was freedom. And I always, so since I started my entrepreneurship to begin with, it has always been to try to find myself freedom, right? And that's at least what we were looking for. And that's how we decided to start a business together. Um, Obviously he wants is a little bit different from what I want, but anyway, we what we're trying to look for in the future. And honestly, actually, I just would like to mention that he's going to be joining our streams very soon. In fact, that office where we're going to be doing streams together as well, maybe doing some YouTube videos as well. So it's just I believe the thing that we both are like minded in is that we want financial freedom for both of our families, right? And that's what motivates us on a daily basis. For some people, it can be just their personal. For some people, it can be something different. But for us, it has always been this, and that's how we continued, right? So mm, we it's not that. So some people, when they open and start a business, they think like, what, this is it, like this business is going to get me out of this predicament that I have in life. Like it can be a financial situation where you're at, where you just like broke, or you can be just, you need to collect some money for certain things. I remember the times when I had no money whatsoever, and I had to figure out how to come up with money for the, to pay my phone bill. And I would just do for 14, 15 hours a day, DoorDash, right? And try to collect that money. And it would help. I mean, if you actually genuinely put a goal, for instance, if I put a goal for that day or DoorDash for $200, I have to do that no matter what, no matter how many hours it's gonna take. I have to achieve that goal. And when you achieve it, you actually feel very satisfied, and it actually helps you with your self confidence as well. And I don't see anything wrong to do with doing DoorDash, especially when you need it, even if you have money. Um, I'm so sorry. I meant even if you have business, because your business is not gonna pick up overnight, right? It's something that happens in the movies, not in real life. Of course, there are exceptions where it does happen, but those people either they found something new or they just have backing in some places, right? So for me and my friend, it was different, and it always has been. We do not have no financial backing. We do not have rich parents. It's just from ground up. We're trying to build something up, right? I'm not saying I build it up right now just yet, but I'm working on it, right? At least that's what I'm doing. Something that most of the 26-year-olds out there don't do, right? So uh, we we were not ready. Like honestly, even when we're talking about it right now, of our separate businesses as well. Like when we come to that conversation, is we say all the time we were not ready for either one of those, right? So even when opening this business, I do not think we feel ready. Honestly, I don't. And does it scare me? Obviously, but at the same time, I'm like, what do I have to lose? Like even if I fail, it's gonna be either way. I will learn something from it. Like let's say if it's something about public speaking, I will be learning how to public speak properly. Even if it fails, at least it's a skill that I'll be learning by myself, and it's not gonna be any minus from me, right? Some people might scare. Oh, what? So let me tell this story. When I was singing, I used to sing. For the first time I went up on the stage, I was singing, as I was about to sing a song, begging. Some of you might know it. And I went up on that, and before I went up on that stage, I swear to God, I was so scared. Like I was not even nervous, I was just terrified. I was like, you know what, do I really want to go up on that stage? I was like, you know what, it's not worth it, it's not worth it. I was about to run away. Um, and very close people to me, they know that I'm not really easily scared of anything at all, right? So I said, you know what, I'm a I'm a still go. Let me try. So I went up on that stage. I just closed my eyes. I did not look at people. I did not think about people. I just closed my eyes, and I'm like, you know what, let me try and sing. And at the end of the show, people liked it the way I sung, at least. And I was shocked. Like it's just, it just, I deep dived in the thing that I was already preparing myself for. So like whenever you're reading all these books, whenever you train yourself in something, whenever you experience something, you're training yourself for something that you are about to do. So let's say you are um, learning how to speak in front of the classroom. maybe you failed, maybe you got low grade, but at the same time, whenever in the future, whenever you're going to be talking, let's say at TED Talk or something somewhere else, or presenting something to your bosses in the future, you'll be able to speak more comfortably because you already know, you have that feeling, you have already have that experience on how to talk and address people in the room, right? So that's the way I see it personally. So we honestly, I told him, just I said, you know what, Breezy, just instead of just like us thinking and planning the shit, let's just move. Let's just do something, you know, and let's just burn the boats. So we would not only think about it, we would actually act on it. So no matter what kind of person, you can be the most disciplined person on earth, if you did not take an action, if you were just planning or you're just drawing and writing whatever you want to do, you will not be able to achieve or even start what you want to achieve, right? So that's the way I see it, and I mean, acting all the time helped me out throughout my 26 years of life. Um, so it's just so. Here's the deal, right? Um, Friends and business partners are different. I explained it to Breezy too. So here's the deal. The way I see it, whenever you start a business with your friend, you cannot really be friends. This in a sense of, you cannot be the friends the same way you used to be. So, for instance, if like we start something, we need to either way write a certain contract where it's not going to be emotional. It's going to be financial. By the way, I apologize. It's so here's the deal. If you have a friend and you start something regarding the business, money changes people. If it be it a successful business, be it a failing business, right? If both of you put certain amount of money into it, um, and the business fails, you will take you will not take responsibility. In most of the cases, you will blame each other because of the how can I put it, because of the closeness you feel to that friend, hence why you started that business to begin with. For instance, think of it as a sibling relationship, right? Whenever you have argue with your sibling or you do something with your sibling and something, for instance, let me give you an example, right? You play a soccer inside the room, right? And it was both of your guys' idea, and you were just, having fun. And so one of you, by accident or just something by accident happens, that you kick the ball to the vase or to a glass and it shatters it. At that point, who's going to be the one to blame? It's going to be the one that kicked that ball at that moment, right? But at the same time, it's just the person that kicked that ball is not going to take that responsibility, because he or she is going to be saying, you know what, you agreed to this idea too, you could have stopped me. But the other person is going to be like, but I did not tell you to kick that hard. So in a sense, you both are going to be arguing about it, but and you will not reach any conclusion, and it's just going to be harming your relationship with that person. So when it's business, it should be strictly business relationship, but at the same time, outside of the business you can still be friends, but inside of the office you're no longer friends, right? Inside of the job, in the meeting or business talk, you are not friends. So my father actually was a great example for me in that sense. um, so he has a very close friend who is an owner of this big company, and my father used to work for that company. Um, my father always tells me that within the company he would also always call him Mr. Fatih, for instance, right? Mr. Fatih, and so on. But outside of it, he would just talk to him like a friend, right? So it's a relationship that you have to be very aware of, to not break and to not mess it up for the future, right? So what I like about, for instance, my brother, like my friend, is that he is actually pretty like his work ethic is very similar to mine. So whenever you start actually business with someone, obviously you would like their work ethic to be exactly like yours was, or actually, or at least similar to it. And the reason for that is because if you work hard, you are like it just that's your work ethic. You will show up at work at your office at like 5 a.m. and you will leave at like 12 a.m. Right? And there are people like that, and I do it myself personally, and I learned it from my father, and that's how it should be, in my opinion, right? But let's say your business partner, he says, you know what, like I want to come at 10 p.m. and I want to leave at, let's say, 7, right, the latest, and you can't really blame him, but that's his work ethic, and it's gonna bother you either way. You're gonna be like, you know what, he or she does not care about this business. He or she does not want to really invest into that business the same way I do. Why the fuck should I work with that person, right? So it just that's the kind of relationship, that's the kind of mindset you'll have, and it can be subconsciously, even if you don't want to think that way. It happens. It's a human nature, right? So, plus the for instance, you might share the money, but at the same time, you can't really talk to each other about money, right? So let's say you guys have 50-50 in that business, and but you notice that you got for some reason less than him, or maybe there was some kind of mistake, maybe you miscalculated, and you're gonna start asking him like, where's my money, right? And so on and so forth, and it's gonna be awkward. It's not gonna be, like it's gonna feel like he or she might feel like, you don't trust them about money. So it's money is a thing. It can bring you both bad and good energy at the same time, right? The good energy in the sense of you can buy whatever the heck you want, you can spend on yourself, and you can improve yourself, right? But whenever it comes to the, for instance, friendship, right, it's gonna be a little bit different. So it's just it's just I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I'm gonna ban this dumbass. Is gonna be money conversation has always been a little bit harsh, right? It's always going to be awkward. So that's hence why I always say that within business it's just business talks. It's never friend talk, right? So I apologize again. Had a long day, so nobody knows really what the hell they're doing in the beginning. I mean, obviously, unless you already planned this like really good, and there are people that do that actually. I've seen them before, but nobody really knows what to do, right? Because I mean, whenever you start them in just a brand new brand, and in like just a brand, right? And you guys don't know who's gonna have what kind of role, and it should be obviously either way in every single business partnership relationship. There's gonna be mutual respect for each other, so you guys need to already know what kind of role the other person is gonna take. For instance, for us, it's obvious. In my business, I'm gonna be the one talking to everybody mostly, and the reason for that is because I'm just talkative and I'm willing to take myself out there the same way I do over here, right? So it's it's always just like how can I put it? So business business is such an interesting thing. Like it's like a chase game, right? But at the same time, it's like a person playing chess for the first time. He will not know where to put queen and where to put king, right? Or where to put, let's say, rooks or knights, right? And that person has never played that like chess, that game, right? So that's why they don't know which squares, which positions they go into. So that's similar to that, honestly. Um, I mean, some days, honestly, I'll tell you that whenever you start the business, right, you just some days you do genuinely feel like genius, right? Because you're like, oh god damn it, I came up with that idea, and in some days you feel like an idiot because you have not. made any progress, and that stresses you out and maybe even can take you towards depression or whatsoever, right? So I always say to people, you just don't take it too harshly on yourself. uh, yes, you should judge yourself in a sense of how to, to improve yourself every day, but like, how can I put it, to self improve, self develop, right? But at the same time, don't be hard on yourself if you actually did your job for the day, right? So what you're learning without teaching is gonna be. So here's the deal. How can I put it? So let's say I do the streams on a daily basis, right? And it's how can I put it in words? So here's the deal: discipline, right? Matters always more than motivation, and you most likely heard about it a lot from other big content creators, obviously, or big motivational speakers. But that actually is true. But what I would like to add to that is that you are your own motivation, right? So um, your father, your mother, your brother, or your friends will not be always there to motivate you. So you need to figure out how to motivate yourself. For me, it always has been, for instance, uh, I have a goal, right? I want to buy this house by the age of 30. That house may be a certain big number amount of money, right? And but I look at that house every single day, and I imagine myself walking through the gardens, walking through the corridors and the rooms of that house, and that gives me motivation. It tells me, you know what, I can achieve it because I can see it, and that's actually the logic of Mr. Napoleon Hill from his book Think and Grow Rich, right? So it's just honestly, and I'll tell you what, communication, especially between business partners and maybe employees, sometimes if it's something completely new that you started out of nowhere, is going to be harder than the work itself. So you'll have to figure out how to communicate properly so you guys can actually get work done, right? So communication always comes before work, so you can actually figure something out before actually starting, right? Like plan it out. And honestly, whenever once you start like using ego, in a sense of that, like putting your ego up there and just doing whatever, uh, it's gonna kill not only your progress, it's gonna kill your business, right? It's gonna kill your relationship with your business partners because once the ego starts playing, ego actually, I mean, there are so many examples even throughout the history of what ego does to a person or to their work, right? Take for instance, I wrote in one of my articles as well for Napoleon Bonaparte, right? The guy, he had crazy discipline, he had amazing ambitions. He became a, like at a very young age an emperor, like, and he self crowned himself. Like basically, what I'm trying to say is he achieved it, right? And with his ambition and discipline. I mean, think of it this way: the whole era was named after the guy, right? But at the same time, once his ego and paranoia started to play in, to wade in, right, he lost everything. At the end of his years, was in some remote island without anybody next to him, right? So that actually that actually tells you a lot what ego can do to a person. Is even such great as Napoleon Bonaparte, right? And that's honestly that's how friendships gets tested as well. I mean, as I mentioned before, I would prefer not to involve any friendship in a business. Hence why. Oh my god, I got tired. Yeah, so friendship gets tested, right? Friendship does, and I would say the best thing you can do is just straight up put on boundaries once you get into the office, and that's gonna be the best thing to do. No jokes, no goofing around, right? It's just serious talk from once you're in the office. Once you take one single step out of the office, you guys can go back goofing around and just joking as well, right? So, and that's what it should be about. So hence why, like I always told Breezy as well, we need to have an office because once we have an office, we can actually do our own shit over there, and that's why we are starting opening our office soon as well for this business. So it's, and I'm not trying to teach you guys, right? I'm not trying to teach you. It's just I'm just documenting what I'm learning in real life myself in real time, and I'm positive that I'll go back like in the future. I'll go back and check all of these videos as well. It's something that I do for myself, I would say, and if you can, if I can, add something to you, that's gonna be amazing, right? So yeah, it's I would like to ask you, like, would you ever start a business with a friend? Like with a friend or friends, does not matter. Would you ever go into it? What scares you more, right? Like failing or maybe staying stuck in that same level of the business. Maybe it's not gonna go, like maybe it's gonna just stallmate once it reaches a certain level, maybe you're scared of that. Yeah, any one of you guys, do you think of maybe building something in the future? Like, I mean, dreams, and the only one person that's going to limit you is going to be you, right? And I'm pretty sure you guys heard about stuff like that a lot as well. So it's honestly, I would say, it's just think of it, just money, right? Like in the business, it's fun, you know. Don't do business for money. Do business for fun, because the process of making that wealth, process of making that fortune is fun in itself. Just think of it this way: you're not, and once you start actually having fun by what you do, and then you can do. I promise you, I did not think that I will ever become a businessman until I turned 21. I did not think for so all my 21 years of life, I always thought I will never become a businessman like my father, because and she was never home. She was never. I barely grew up with him, right? Like, and it was something different for me. So, and that's why I would say, you know what, just just do it, right? So yeah, I'm not here that to tell you again. I would like to remind you because I'm pretty sure some people might mention it, but I'm not here because I've actually made it. Like I did not make it just in life, just yet, just yet, right? Uh, but I'm here because I'm building, right? I'm documenting everything I do. I write my journals, and I also speak to this camera. If you're on a similar path, uh, please follow me. I would love to. So whenever you follow me and watch me, I can actually interact with you, and I would like to talk with you about it. It actually makes the whole streaming more fun, right? And we can figure out together how can it happen, right? I mean, yeah, I learned something from you guys. You learned something from me. And that's a good trait to me. So I will also be posting this video on YouTube. So maybe some people will like to watch it, right? I would like to hear their opinion as well. So yeah, thank you so much for sticking around. I know it's not too long for at least streaming, but maybe for a YouTube video, it's pretty good. But yeah, it's getting late and I gotta go to sleep so I can wake up in 2 hours. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon, most likely tomorrow.